really, really excited about today. Whether you've been here for a week or 2 weeks, or you've been here all 18 years, hopefully that video gives you just a little bit of a snapshot and orientation. Some of us, we went down memory lane as some of those pictures flashed across. And maybe some of us were like, oh, I just thought Journey's been around ever since dinosaurs roamed the earth. And so everywhere in between, I'm so glad you're here today. And part of the hope today and next week is to give some vision, is to give some perspective to, one, how is God shaping us this year and the years ahead, but specifically this year, I want to give some language and a picture and hopefully just a framework for us, whether we've been here all 18 years or you've been here 18 days. Hopefully today just helps you get more locked in and more clear on where we're going, how Jesus is leading us together. And I do want to talk about vision. You could define vision this way. A vision is a preferred future. A preferred future. It's a preferred future for your life or for your marriage or for your family or a group of people, an organization. It's a preferred future. We're in winter wonderland here in Michigan, right? And so some of us, we have trips and vacations on the docket. Some of us, we've been on cruises or somewhere that's a little warmer than 15 degrees Fahrenheit. You've been somewhere or you're planning to go somewhere. And think about a vacation, right? You have a plan. You have a picture of what that vacation is going to be like. Maybe you have some food that you're planning to eat, some experiences you're hoping to have. You're having, maybe even not consciously, but subconsciously, a mental picture. Like, man, if I could just slow down, if I could just center in, if I could just be a little more present as a result of this vacation. We all have those. Maybe you're planning on spring break. Your family's going away and you're doing a trip, and you have a preferred future about that trip. That's a couple months or a couple weeks away for some of us. Maybe just think even like in the next 12 hours. Some of us have a preferred future about what we're going to eat tonight, right? Super Bowl Sundays. Maybe you don't even know who's in the Super Bowl, but you know what you're making for the Super Bowl, right? You got a Pinterest recipe that you're like, I hope it turns out like this. I remember this one time. Don't judge me, but I was vegan for about 3 years. I found the Lord. Don't worry about it. And we had this family get together, and one of my relatives, who will remain nameless, had this great dessert, and you're gonna want to just brace yourself. But it was a tofu. Yeah, I feel it. I know, a tofu-based dessert, and it was supposed to imitate a certain kind of dip that you'd have with like chips or pita bread and whatnot, and that thing wouldn't have been edible for an animal. It was just awful, right? But I'm sure Pinterest had some great pictures and the perfect lighting and enough contrast, right, to make it like, oh, this is so appetizing. But the reality, the picture of what happened and the picture that was preferred, the vision didn't quite line up. A vision is a preferred future, somewhere you're going or a place you want to be, whether it's externally or internally. And we need a vision, we need a goal for a vacation or for a project or for a business, because here's a reality, that everyone ends up somewhere, few end up somewhere on purpose. Everyone ends up somewhere. We're all going to have a funeral, we're all going to have a eulogy. The death percentage, the death rate is still at 100%. Everyone ends up somewhere. Few end up somewhere on purpose. Every business, every company, every restaurant, they end up somewhere. There is a destination. There is an end of the road. Few end up somewhere with a vision, with a goal, with a preferred future. And here's the power of a vision. Of the vision is a picture of tomorrow that shapes how I live today. It's a picture of what's down the road, so where I am right now both has purpose and intention and has forward movement. When you have the vacation, when you have the trip in mind, when you have the recipe, you plan differently, you spend differently, you orient your energy differently. When you have the goal, when you have the picture to lose 10 pounds, like some of us, we have that goal. I want to remind you, you need to eat differently and act differently today. Otherwise, tomorrow you're going to be right where you are, right? The vision is a picture that shapes how I live today, a picture of tomorrow, a hope for tomorrow, a preferred future that shapes my living today. And before we look at this coming year, before we look at the next coming years and talk about some of the ways that God is shaping us and already actively moving among us, I want to give some of us just a window on how we got here. Because sometimes when you look ahead, it's helpful to know, well, how did I get here? What's the story of today? Some of us, we wouldn't know that recently in this last year has been some of the biggest changes in the life of our church that we've ever gone through. Our founding pastor, John Allen, about a year ago now announced that him and his wife, Erica, and their family were transitioning out of Journey after almost 2 decades of life in leadership here. It's a huge change. Huge change. Some of us, the pictures we saw in the bumper video, we're like, oh, I didn't know that's how that started. I didn't know that happened. There's been so many events and so many situations that have led us to where we are today. Some of you didn't know I've only been in this role 6 months, right? Like I said to our team this year, like, you're the only kids coordinator or worship leader someone might have ever connected with because they come in the last several weeks. I know I've got it all figured out after 6 months, but I just, like it's a new journey. We're in a season of change. And here's what's happening. That we have the same mission as what we've always had. Helping people experience Jesus. Helping people experience a relationship with Jesus. But it is a new season. It's the same mission. The heart hasn't changed. John 10, verse 10, I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. That hasn't changed in Jesus' heart, and it hasn't changed in our heart. But it is a new season, a new chapter, a new expression of that vision. And today I want to talk about specifically just this year that we're in right now, 2026. 2026, 1 month in, how is God leading and shaping us as a church, us as individuals, us as families? Because here's what's been true. Early on into this role, I felt this self-imposed pressure to, man, I got to have the next thing. I got to have the next catchline or catchphrase or the next graphic, right? The next project. But slowly what the Lord started to do over the fall is to stabilize some things, to clarify some things. And over the last couple months, he has started to reveal some of the ways he's leading us, some of the ways he's shaping us in the future. And you got to know one thing about following Jesus. He rarely gives you the full picture all at once. He gives you the first couple steps. He starts to orient you. He starts to shape some priorities. He brings some people in your path. And you're faithful to take the first couple steps. And today I want to talk about those first couple steps with you. To do it, I want to encourage you, if you've got a passage of the scriptures, turn to Mark chapter 3. Mark chapter 3. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John are these gospel accounts of the life and ministry of Jesus. And Mark is the second book in the New Testament of the Bible. Mark chapter 3. And we see some of Jesus' life and leadership start to unfold in the first chapters of Mark. And we're just going to spend some time in about 2 verses, 2-ish verses. It goes like this. It says this, Mark 3, verse 13. Jesus went up on a mountainside and called to him those he wanted, and they came to him. He appointed 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach. I want to read it one more time. Jesus went up on a mountainside and called to him those he wanted, and they came to him. He appointed, he chose, he selected 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach. I want us to see 2 dimensions in this little couple verses we just read. 2 realities that are happening. And the first thing that Jesus calls, the first thing that he invites his new disciples, again, 3 chapters into this gospel, into this record of Jesus' life and his ministry, the first thing he calls them to do, maybe you caught it as we read it those 2 times, he calls them that they might be with him. That they might be with him. And we start to see this reality, this direction of our lives with Jesus, that it is a vertical dimension we have with God. It is a heaven to earth relationship. Life with Jesus first is about being with him. About being with him. And that is a vertical relationship. It's a relationship between you and God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's this vertical dimension of faith. And you could simply title this dimension growing. Growing. Growing with Jesus. He called them that they might be with him. And part of relationship with Jesus is about growing. It's about transforming because you become who you spend the most time with. Right? Just like any other relationship, being with Jesus shapes us and moves us. It grows us into someone different. See, Jesus also calls them in a couple different instances in the Gospels, come follow me, come be with me, and I will make you into something. I will transform your life. I will help you grow, and not just grow one time and stay the same. Enter into this relationship, into this dynamic of growing. He appointed them, he chose them that they might be with him. And here's what growing is not. Growing is not knowing more. Growing is not knowing more. Growing is not doing more. Growing is not doing more. It's not a call to more action. It's not a call to more knowledge or facts. It's not a call to more action. Growing is also not proving more. Growing is about becoming more. Growing is about growing into, as one author in the scriptures would say, growing into the image of Christ, into the likeness of Christ. So much so that our decision making becomes like his decision making. So much so that our thought patterns and emotional reactions are like the thought patterns and emotional reactions of Jesus. And if you're like me, we've got some ways to go. We got some ways to go. He called them that they might be with him. And part of being with Jesus is growing and becoming more. And I want to just clarify for some of us and remind some of us, this is God's intention for your life. It is to grow in a relationship with the God who made you. Some of us, we have some great goals for the year. We have some great intentions for the year. And maybe part of that is, man, God, what is your will for my life? What do you want 2026 to look for? Very simply, he wants you to be growing with him. He wants to make you more like him. And he wants you to become more. Not know more, not do more, not prove more. He wants to help you become a different person. Some people who are becoming part of our community, it's the young dad who is slowly learning to value his family and his faith over his selfish priorities. Becoming more. That shapes thinking, that shapes action. It's the long-time Jesus following woman who has surrendered her insecurity time and time again and now gets to live and lead out of that and help other people experience that. It's the newly retired man who, after decades of believing in God and knowing God and learning about God, is finally opening up to experiencing God as a person. It's not about knowing only or doing only, or certainly not about proving. Jesus calls them that they might be with him, and part of being with Jesus is becoming like him. And I want to encourage you as an individual, 2026 will be your best year if it's your best year spiritually. I heard someone say that before and I didn't like it. Because what I think is 2026 will be my best year if it's my best year circumstantially. Right? If this thing goes the way I want it, and this person gets their act together, and this project succeeds, and this goal is met, and that weight is lost, and that accomplishment is realized. But 2026 will be your best year you've ever had if it's the best year you ever have with Jesus. If it's a year that you look back on and say, man, I grew like never before, 2026 will be your best year. I had a year like that in my life, and circumstantially, externally, things were not how I wanted. But it was a year of rapid growth with Jesus. It was a year of fully more understanding how he's called me and how he's wired me to move in my calling and how he's created me. It was one of my best years. One of my best years. And it wasn't because all the external things went how I wanted. It was because I allowed Jesus to change me, to make me more like him, to reorient my priorities in my personality, in my choices, in my decisions. That is God's will for your life. And if we step into it, if you step into it, this year will be the best year you've ever had. And you could look back on it and say, man, the situations didn't go how I wanted and the things didn't happen like I wanted them to happen. But I had peace and joy and fulfillment in a heavenly perspective as I walked in a growing relationship with the Jesus who's called me to first be with him and to become more like him. There's another dimension, though. He calls them that they might be with him, and he does another thing. He does another thing. He calls them to be with him, and it says that he might send them out to preach. Now, this is not a Bible college Jesus is running here. This is not a ministry development training program he's running here. Jesus is calling ordinary people, everyday people like you and like me, to first be with him, to come hang out with him, to spend time with him, to become something different, so he might, one, send them out. Send them out. And he says to send them out to preach, to send them out with a message, to send them out with a announcement. He wants to be with us. He wants to be with you, but he wants to send us out. And you can say this is growing. It's this vertical relationship with God, but there is this horizontal dimension. And you can say this very simply is going, growing, and going. That they might be with him, be with God, know God, hear God, listen to God, fellowship with God, hang out with God, which sounds way easier than it is. To just be with God. You tried that for 15 minutes? That's hard. That's hard. With all the red notifications on your phone and all the things on your calendar and the 22 and a half emails in your inbox, it's sometimes hard to be with Jesus. It's sometimes hard to be with Jesus as groups of people. To listen to him, to experience him, and then to not just stay there, but to be going with him, to be sent by him, to be sent with him. Which means this, if you're sent, that means you don't go to work, that you're sent to work. It means you don't go to school, it means you're sent to school. Hello, students. It means you don't go to D&W, it means you're sent there. It means you don't go to Aldi, it means you're sent there. It doesn't mean you just go back home after church, it means you are sent there. And you're sent there to preach. Not on a platform, at a table. Not on a YouTube video, in a relationship. Not in a sermon clip that gets posted and taken out of context. In a relationship with someone who actually knows you, who knows your story, and you get to preach, you get to announce the good news of who Jesus is and who he's been in your life, and who Jesus is and who he's helped you to be, who he's helped you to become, growing and going. And if you were to take those two words, that's a really good frame. It's a really good picture of how Jesus wants one to move in your life this year and how he wants to move in us as a church this year. Growing and going. Growing and going. And this year will be your best year if you grow with Jesus and go with him like never before. This year will be our best year, whatever that means in church world, if we grow with Jesus and go with him like never before. And this is the heart of the Christian journey. This is the heart of the scriptures. And if we ever get more than that or less than that, we got to come back to this reality. That I am created for a relationship, a growing connection with the God who made me, but I'm not just supposed to stay there, I'm supposed to be going. And here's the thing that's powerful about it. As individuals and as groups or organizations or churches, we often pick one. We pick one. We say, I'm all about my own retreats and my own Sabbath and my study, and it's me and Yahweh, and we have this connection, and I hear from him, and I move with him, and I commune with him, and I'm with God. But sometimes we miss the people who are right around us. We don't go. We want to grow. We want to become more like him. We want to take the personality test and the Enneagram and know our spiritual gifts and know my story and better understand myself. But I miss the broken person who's sitting at a desk next to me at work. Or, as churches, we can do that. We can focus on how good was that service, how good was that sermon, how good was that teaching or that retreat or that experience. And we miss, did we give any of our time and energy and money away to people who aren't in our walls? The other extreme is also true. As individuals, we can say, I'm all about going. I'm on mission. I want to be a part of every charity and NGO and every calendar thing at my kids' school, and I want to be a part of what's going on in my neighborhood. But we miss that God wants a personal, vibrant, intimate relationship with us. We go in our own strength. We go with our own priorities. We go because we're supposed to be a good person. We're supposed to be an engaged member of society, but we miss that the Holy Spirit is speaking to us, that he's moving, that he's given us gifts to do supernaturally what only he can do in and through us. We go. Or churches. We can launch things. We can launch partnerships. We can give funds. We can do all these things and miss the still small voice of God when we gather together, or when he's reorienting priorities, reorienting schedules for us as groups of people. The power is in both. The temptation, the pattern is often to choose one. Would you be a person? Would I be a person? Would we be a group of people this year and in the years to come to grow with Jesus and go with Jesus? To put a little more just differently, one author and writer said that the whole journey of Christian spiritual formation, the whole journey of discipleship, of following Jesus is this. It's the process of being formed in the image of Jesus for the sake of others. The process, the ing, the ongoing, the journey of being formed, of actually becoming like the person of God, his qualities, his thoughts, his priorities, his actions, not for our own self, not for our own sake, for the sake of others, of growing in going, of loving the Lord with all our heart, soul, mind, strength, and our neighbor as ourselves. With experiencing Jesus and sharing him, with growing and with going. That's the whole goal. That's the vision of Jesus, and for us to say, this is a frame, this is a picture of what this year could look like, of what it could mean individually and together. And we still have this same mission in a new season, in a new chapter, to help as many people as possible live in a life-giving relationship with Jesus. To one, be experiencers of that, to one, be growers in that relationship ourselves, and then to help other people, to go to other people, to be sent to other people, to help them, to show them, to preach to them, to usher them into a life-giving relationship with the one who made them, growing and going. growing and going. And we share this and we come back to this because of the reality that we started with, that everyone ends up somewhere. December 2026, we'll be somewhere. December 2026, you'll be somewhere. Few end up somewhere on purpose. And us as a church, and us as leaders, and us as a staff, and us as teams, we are orienting and structuring and prioritizing around those two things. Does it help you grow with Jesus, and does it help you go with Jesus? Does it help you become more like Jesus and help other people become more like Jesus? Because that's the metric. That's the goal. That's the bar. So let me ask you those two questions. Are you growing with Jesus? Are you in that relationship? Have you said yes to that call? Are you in that ongoing process of becoming more like him? Of being shaped and transformed, informed, becoming someone new? Are you in that relationship? Have you lowered the bar at all? Well, I'm just supposed to believe in Jesus and depend on him for heaven and salvation one day. That's too low of a bar. Jesus said, no, heaven's on earth right now. The relationship's here right now. Maybe you've lowered the bar. Maybe you've raised the bar. Maybe you made the journey about knowing more or doing more or proving more. And Jesus said, no, it's about becoming. The question is, are you becoming more like me? Are you growing with Jesus, and are you going with Jesus? Are you growing with Jesus, and are you going with Jesus? Those two dimensions. That's the goal this year. That's the preferred future. If we do those two things, we won't miss.